So here we are for part two of this off-grid home build. It's we're planning a fairly traditional home, but we're just not going to connect the grid to it. And my dozer operator has been up this what's soon to be the driveway. We've got a permit from the Department of Highways, which was surprisingly a cumbersome task. I thought it would actually be easy. We've had the dozer on site now for just about 3 weeks, waiting on that permit process. There was some difficulties with the clearances, driveway to driveway, from where I wanted to put it versus where they would allow me to put it. And well, I had my feelings about that, but ultimately I had to abide by their guidelines, which don't make a lot of logic, but it's just what we have to do, I guess. It is what it is. So here we are. There's the dozer we got on site. This is going to be the top of the driveway. The stakes to the house approximately there and there. Got 3 sticks of 24-inch culvert. Gonna make plenty of driveway. I kind of like to buy once, cry once. Don't like to do things and have regrets, or wish, oh man, I should have went a little bigger, or should have, this or that. So might only use 2 sticks, might only go 40 feet of culvert, but we got 3 here just in case. I can always return it back to the hardware store if I need to. So since I made the first video, I went to the Zona Solar Energy Conference. It's where a lot of the solar contractors go. That's around the eastern U.S. here, around West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I even met a guy from New York. And then a lot of suppliers from all over the place. Really neat to meet folks. But I was going to go with a Solarc, and I've decided I'm going to give Midnite Power a try. They're 11.4 kilowatt all-in-one. It does 10,000 watts off grid, 11.4 to the grid if grid tied. This house being off grid. However, we're only looking at that 10,000 watt spec. I've done some research on the installation process. It looks like they require copper wire for all conductors on that inverter, which is different than what a lot of guys are doing with Solarc. So the selling point as to why I'm going with the Midnite all-in-one versus Solarc is Solarc limits you to 500 volts on the DC side. That's of course once you take into account the minimum temperature of the region you're in, and in regard to the open circuit voltage. So Solarc allows 500. Midnite is allowing the full 600, which is the maximum allowable according to the National Electric Code. So with that said, I've got 18 panels, 9 575 watt Q cells per string. So I've got 18 575 Q cells, and unfortunately, to keep under 500 volts with the minimum temperature in our area, I like to calculate down to negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit, which is actually some buffer built in. West Virginia, at least in my region, doesn't get to negative 25. But anyway, I like to build in a little buffer on my designs. So with that, Solarc would not permit 9 panels in a string. It would only permit 8. So then I would have to do 3 strings of 6 to do the Solarc. So that would populate all 3 Solarc inputs. Now, of course, I could parallel one of those strings and remain within allowable limits of the Solarc. But then you got to upsize wire and things of that nature. So I like the idea. of doing the 2 strings of 9 and it's going to hover around 585 open circuit at minimum temperature. So yeah, and again, I like to do things, build in a bit of a buffer, so should be fine there. So that was the biggest selling point. In addition to the load management that's built in, Solarc doesn't offer that. I mean, they do just on that one circuit, but the all-in-one allows me to tie in a generator, and it also allows for 2 smart loads. Now you can do 3 smart loads, but then that would occupy the generator circuit. So in this instance, for the all-in-one, you've got a 60 amp smart load or generator input, and then I've got a 50 and a 30. So I'm going to do a lighting sub panel off of the 30, and then I'm going to do a plug load sub panel off of the 50. So this house is going to have a main panel that's going to come off of the 100 amp breaker of the Midnite all-in-one. It's going to have a plug load sub panel, and then it's going to have a lighting sub panel. Now I'm going to build this in a way that all of the Romex can be moved around, jogged around between all 3 panels in the event that we want to change things as life happens. Anyhow, I also want to say that we have a builder in New Mexico, a builder of the walls. They're called Trinity Building Systems, and they're doing a thermally broken wall that is going to actually be shipped to us. We just recently finalized the drawings so that their shop can get busy on building those thermally broken walls. It's something that couldn't be easily done in the field, and their quote was reasonable. My contractor, he's pretty old school, but surprisingly, he looked at the system that they're talking about putting together, and considering the R value of upwards of 41 with a thermal break, whereas we would just be able to achieve R19 with 2x6 thermal bridges. So their wall essentially gives us about a 2-inch foam thermal break. And now, of course, it's still built with 2x6 internally. So those 2x6s are a little bit of a thermal bridge, but it has to get through the 2 inches of foam. So it's a nice product. I think it's better than the T-stud products that they were offering. That was maybe popular for a bit. They're just super expensive. So this Trinity Building Systems, they're able to do something that's fairly cost effective and extremely effective. So I hope doesn't turn out to be a complete folly on my part, but the guys that I'm talking to there at Trinity Building Systems, they seem very well educated on the subject. They seem like they've had some great success with their system. It is a little new. It's sort of new technology, but so I am taking a risk. But sometimes that's how you get things done. That's how you do neat, unusual stuff. You just gotta take a risk every now and then. So getting to an R value of 41 is going to be great. Still going to do the 1,000 gallon LP tank, all gas appliances. However, I'm going to maybe allow for adding some circuits if I want to electrify, as we decide that we have plenty of backup power through the winter. Still going to plan. I'm actually going to plan on the Midnite batteries. I'm between Discover and Midnite, but it looks like I can get the Midnite batteries just for a few $100s cheaper, and that makes it a all-in-one solution, all one brand. Even though I've got a little bit of I'm a little peeved at Midnite as a whole. I provided a customer with a Midnite Solar PowerFlow 16. Only to find out that whenever I about 6 months later, I installed a Hawke's-Bay, which is a Midnite Solar product. I installed a Hawke's-Bay 120, and as it turns out, those two components are not very friendly. Even though Midnite Solar, before they split with and Midnite Power was created, the battery that I have is actually branded Midnite Solar. So it's a little frustrating because now I've got these two products. They both have the Midnite Solar brand right on them. And they won't work together well, but the guys are saying, well, you know, we split. I'm thinking, well, yeah, you split. But when I bought these products, they had Midnite Solar on them. So it's been painful. It's cost me many hours on the phone with my customer, many hours for my customer. But when you're riding the bleeding edge of technology, sometimes these things happen. Unfortunately, companies split. Much like Solark and Fortress Energy, there for whenever they split. A lot of customers kind of got messed over there. The communication protocol changed, which was annoying for those customers that, and Solark was pushing Fortress. Like Fortress was their flagship battery. They were just like, Fortress is the way. And Fortress jumped out, did their own inverter. That's what's, sometimes those things happen with technology as companies evolve. And as a solar contractor, I've been extremely careful to not get involved in those situations, or not get my customers involved in those situations. But unfortunately, I let one with Midnite Power. I let this one slip through the cracks. They split. They didn't say they were going to, of course, there was no warning. Guys, when CEOs decide that they want to do something different, there's no warning. So, well, that's all for now. We're going to got my dozer guy. He's going to be working over the weekend, looks like. He's a super, super good dude. So he's going to be working over the weekend. Today is Thursday, and just should have the permit from the Department of Highways tomorrow. I've got the pipe I just dropped off here. Obviously you see that, and should be good to go for the weekend. I don't have my two daughters this weekend. They are going to be with their mother, so it's going to be a good weekend, hopefully of progress. I don't know if my dozer guy is going to be has all day Saturday available, but hopefully we'll get a lot of that part knocked out. Then maybe in the next 2 weeks we're probably looking at having footers poured. So exciting stuff. Thanks for watching.